Hello, my name is Keagan. This is the story of how someone survived the North Tower and how they survived the September 11th attacks of 2001. My name is Keagan Storm, and I will begin on my first word. A bomb. Diane DeFontis thought when they were thinking of becoming invisible again. At 8:46 at the North Tower, an impact had knocked her over the chair in the law office on the 89th floor of the North Tower. World Trade Center, the door swung free, even though I had just bolted it shut. In another part of the North Tower, Walter had just pushed it open, the another door part of the floor. Walter had pushed it open, the door to the offices of Cosmos International, an international brokerage where he was president. Keane heard him coming in and looking up from his desk to greet him. Before he could get the words out, he said, "Good morning," out of his mouth. He felt something smack the back of his head. He hurled into a wall ceiling tiles. Coming back from his head, he was hurled into a wall and a bomb, they decided after several breaths. On the southwest end of the 89th floor of the insurance company, MetLife had 10,000 square feet of space. After the initial slam, Rob felt every single one of those square feet titling at his head, and the towel bent south. So far, it seemed it would never recoil. It did, however, slowly returning to center. Something had happened in the other building, they thought. An explosion. The electrician installing fire alarms was sure he knew what he was feeling. An exploding transformer. "8:47, South Tower." In the South Tower, the one that had not been hit, the explosion, Michael had to his feet. New Yorkers loved the fable of their own invincibility, to boast of how unflappable they remain, whether confronted with a rooster that has gotten loose in the subway or a prime minister crossing Lexington Avenue. Yet no one could be blasé about explosions at the World Trade Center. Not only height, mass, and population distinguished the patch of land and sky, the 1993 bombings marked it as an icon and target. Even if the memory of the attack had lost some of its vigor, it still felt vitally in every pore of the place. Terrorists had already tried to kill these buildings and all in them. With the first bloom of fire on September 11, 2001, that history welled on from memory into the moment. The force of Flight 11's impact not only registered in seismographs miles away, it also jolted people. The people moored to the Trade Center workday. Shinhan normally sat with his back to a window that faced overlooking the Hudson River. Now he was peering out of the window, unable to see much. 9:05, North Tower. The safe spaces were disappearing as the smoke rose through seams in the building as flames found fissures and created new ones on some floors. Things remained remarkably calm, even as Peter called his wife, using one of the few phones that still worked on the 106th floor of the North Tower. An executive with Imagine software had come to the Trade Center for Risk's water breakfast conference at the Windows on the World. He told his wife that the smoke was getting thicker and that he was worried about his breathing. He was going to head for the roof. There was so much else to say, of course, but Markerdine told her he could not stay on the phone. Many others were waiting, even in a time of confusion. Coursing fear, small counter trees survived across the high floors in each of the towers. Dozens of people were reaching the same conclusion as Peter. Their next refugees will be the roof. In the South Tower, Sean Rooney began climbing from the office of the 98th floor on Paul Revere, walked up from Federal Street Trust on 90th in the North Tower. "9:20, South Tower." 80 floors later, walking in the new shoes he had retrieved from under his desk. Mizabo office, Stephen Miller glimpsed from the outside world again. Sunlight dulled by smoke filtered through windows of the mezzanine, the spot where he found thousands of others emerged from the stairs of the South Tower. Two of the buildings, three staircases ended in the mezzanine, and after spending more than half an hour in the stairwell, much of it waiting for the line to move, Miller hopped for a quick exit from the burning building instead of the traffic slowed. Mezzanine overlooked the lobby like a choir loft. Running along the perimeter of the building from the mezzanine, there was only two ways out. One set of doors opened in several places onto the plaza of the complex. The public square of the Trade Center, where on sunny days people gathered from concerts and al fresco lunches. Now, however, it was filled with flaming debris and bodies, which were continuing to drop from the upper floors of the buildings. One Port Authority police officer told that he saw 13 people jump in just a matter of seconds. Minutes before, a firefighter, Daniel Sewer, of Engine 216 had been struck and killed, and a body falling from the upper towers. North Tower, 10:20 a.m. Now the light has gone out. The giant platters of air plunged past the people in the North Tower and hit bottom. The wind seems to be bouncing back up Stairway B, whipping tons of crushed building particles along this shaft. The people stretched up and down the lower floors of the stairway that once met Josephine Harris, a couple of stragglers who had stayed in Pat Hofi's office on the 64th floor all morning, can see nothing. They pry open a door, but it goes nowhere. They huddle alive in the last intact stub of the World Trade Center. Above them is only sky. Thank you.